All right, go live. We should be live at this point. It might take a second to pop up in the group. Everybody, MLO Net, thank you for joining us. Karen, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thanks, Mike.
Fantastic. Well, you and I just kind of met through Facebook Messenger and chat, and called each other for the first time just a few days ago, just at the end of last week. And I know I've watched you in this business for a while. I've seen some of the things you're doing, and I thought, well, she's only for women. She only helps women. Then I got talking to her last week. I'm like, man, she's got some really good ideas.
Well, I don't really always help just women, but I do have other websites that are, that are gender, that are, mixed gender. But Mortgage Girlfriends is kind of my passion, and the reason is because I used to attend seminars that were, there's a lot of men speakers that have fabulous ideas, but then when I went to go ahead and try to implement them, it didn't kind of work for me because I just didn't do business that way. So one of the reasons that we started Mortgage Girlfriends is because women do business differently than men do. They have a different temperament. They have a different way of communicating, and not that it's good or bad. It's just that it's different. So that was one of the reasons for starting, Mortgage Girlfriends.
Cool, I dig it. So you have the Facebook space is a little newer to you, but you've started watching some of the communities and some of the online things that we're doing, and started realizing that this concept of community and being social is a little bit different, but it's an evolution. People are adapting to it, and people are starting to participate a lot more. So how is that? Is that going to change the way that you approach helping loan officers, do you think, or do you think the traditional methods of conference calls and conferences and things of that nature will still play a large role in how we learn?
I think it's a combination of everything. It's going to be social media, it's going to be video, it's going to be blogs, articles, websites. So, is that breakfast?
Oh, that's McMakin. I told him I was filming. I said, "Hey Jay, I'll be on with Karen, so don't pop in." And here he is. So that's my military mortgage boot camp partner. He's coming in here. Okay. I'm going to send him back to my car to get some shirts because apparently he has an event he's doing. He needs some shirts.
Okay.
But anyways,
Michael, I think it's just a combination of everything, and that but the key component is that it has to be consistent. If you're going to post on Facebook, it should be, every other day, or if people are expecting you every day, post every day. Videos, if they're expecting a video once a week, do that once a week. And it'll take a little time. It takes anywhere from 3 to 6 months, but just like, the groups, once they get used to it, once they start realizing that you're out there, and I am a big proponent of branding. And branding is really, really huge to me, and I think to other loan officers, because companies consolidate. They go out of business, they get bought out, loan officers switch companies, and if they're branding themselves with the company, I don't think that that's the way to go, that you have to brand your name, because your name always follows you. And your reputation always follows you, and that's why when you do send out emails, any email, I don't care if it's a client or real estate agent, you put your name in the subject line of the email. You put your name you tag yourself on Facebook if you can, because the search engine SEOs will pick that up as well with the branding. The other thing about branding that most loan officers don't have, and I've checked social media pages, I've looked at LinkedIn, they don't really put in their lending areas, and that is very, very important that they put in not only the city and the state, but the surrounding cities, the counties. If it's called something like, I grew up in the Michiana area, and so if you put in the word Michiana, it takes in 4 or 5 different counties there. So part of that whole branding is not only branding your name, but branding your lending territories as well. So I do recommend loan officers go into your LinkedIn, your Facebook pages, your websites, type in your lending areas, because that's the way a lot of consumers and real estate agents search on, Google or, whatever they use.
I think my good friend James Shachara in Indiana, who I was actually messaging last night, he spent a lot of time doing that in Zillow. He went in and added the states
Oh,
and the
yeah,
zip codes,
yeah.
and built his profile out. And for a long time, he was getting a whole lot of organic hits just because he had built out his areas of expertise a lot better than many LOs all over the country.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that's a great tip. So
Uh-huh.
one of the things that I had mentioned when we were planning this call was you do a lot of ongoing coaching, day to day, one on one, smaller groups.
Uh-huh.
The loan officers of today, men or women, they're facing slightly different challenges, and that's normal. I mean, it's normal for the mortgage business to have a new challenge every single month. But
Dave?
right, but today's challenge. I mean, what are the biggest challenges? And I think we talked a little bit about low inventory. So
Uh-huh.
let's spend some time on that because that's killing me. I know it's driving me nuts. I got a bunch of buyers out there that are super well qualified. They got lots of money, and they're still having a hard time getting their offers accepted and finding houses. It's kind of crazy. So you got some really good tips that are you're not just telling people, you're quote unquote masterminding them and hearing other people in your group share them and refine them
Right.
and test them and what are the best ideas that are coming in through your circles on dealing with the limited inventory.
Okay. Basically, it's happening all over the country. I mean, there's of course pockets where the inventory is okay, but somebody told me the other day that they had maybe 35 to 40 pages in the Homes magazine, and there were like 2,000 listings, and now there's 144, that type of thing. So one of the strategies that are out there is holding a home seller seminar, not a home buyer seminar, but a home seller seminar. A couple of the reasons is most home sellers don't realize that things have changed in the mortgage industry, and the things that they've been hearing about the mortgage industry and about all of the lawsuits and all of the changes, they don't think they can qualify if they sell their home. Now, they're buying another home. Of course, it's going to be a little bit higher, but what they don't understand is that they also have equity in their homes right now. They can use that equity to pay off debt or restructure their finances and then buy another home. So one of the strategies is bringing in a home seller seminar to debunk the myths of what's going on out there. The way that with some of my coaching calls, there is a strategy and a step-by-step way of holding a home seller seminar. One could be that you go through your database and see who you closed a loan for in the last 4 to 7 years, invite them to a seminar. You could also just kind of put it out there, or you could go by real estate company. So you would go to a RE/MAX, let's say, go to all of their agents, say, hey, give me your inventory of homes that you sold 5 to 7 years ago. Let's invite them to a seller seminar and let them know what's happening. And with that, they can also talk about days on the market, what's happening in that marketplace, the number of listings, the dollar amount, the percentage over sales price that the sellers are getting right now. They can bring in a home stager, they can bring in an appraiser. So holding that type of seminar, plus every single seminar, be sure and offer to give the attendees a free copy of their credit report, which would be like a one-in-file credit report. That's all they need. So then they also have an idea, because the first hurdle anybody has to get over anyway is the credit, right? So by giving them a one-in file, and they can see what their credit's like and then move on. Part two of that is instead of having a seller seminar, because there isn't any inventory, you can get your foot in the door with home builders, because they're the ones that are building the inventory now, especially if you have some, nicely priced subdivisions that are, within the moderate category or whatever, because those are popping up all over the place. And you can invite those sellers to a combination seller/home builder seminar, where you have the real estate agent talking about the market, and then you have the builder talking about the process of building the home. The there's another way of possibly doing that, and that is to introduce the real estate agents to the builders. And there's a couple ways. You could have a home builder seminar and invite all of the real estate agents where you have the home builders there. They talk about how a lot is acquired, if there's construction financing, how long does it take, going through the process. Most real estate agents don't even have a clue how a home is built. Maybe even talking about, as you as a lender, if you have long-term locks with a float down, or if you have construction financing available, you can talk about that as well. So you're bringing all of these components together and saying, hey, we know that there's an inventory problem, but let's see how we can solve this with you selling your home, either buying another one, or that you might consider building the home of your dreams. And then, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask you. Okay, so you got the builder seminar. Are you bringing multiple builders with the real estate agents?
Yeah, I can do it two ways. Okay. I've done it with multiple builders, and I've done it with one builder. It seems to be more successful with multiple builders.
Okay.
Because there's three different points of view. And of course, not everybody's going to build a moderate home. Somebody may build a $1 million home. So you're bringing in the different genres of builders too, because builders do specialize as well. There's also real estate agents who have lots for sale. So you're bringing in those real estate agents with those lots where they can match up with the builder. And then that way, as a loan officer, you are introducing the builder to an audience that they had never had access to before. And it could either be consumers or it could be real estate agents.
Awesome. So how do you, let's say that you're doing the event with the builders and the realtor and the buyers. How are LOs getting the buyers? I always hear that's the major challenge. I know I've done a couple first-time buyer seminars myself recently at breweries. I know my good friend Dan Keller does one every single month. But how are your loan officers filling the seats with home buyers? What methods? Are they advertising? Are they doing flyers? Are they doing online? Are they hitting up their past clients? I mean, there's a bunch of ways to do it. I'm just wondering what you're finding is working the best.
Okay, two things. When I'm making the proposal of these seminars, they're for sellers. They already have a home to sell. So you're trying to kill two birds with one stone, is to get their home sold and either get a listing for the real estate agent and then turn them into a buyer or turn them into building a home. For the home buying seminar, it's kind of difficult these days. I have a website called apartmenttoolkit.com where you can also order lists for virtually any apartment complex in the United States. It comes in an Excel spreadsheet and you own it forever. That is one way of getting people to seminars. But again, that has to be consistent. If you're going to market to the apartment complex, and I say 3 or 4 apartment complexes, that you send a postcard every month. Here's my next seminar. Here's where it's going to be. It should be in the same place, usually at a title company, something like that. And give them a reason to attend. And this is a key component. When I gave home buying seminars, it says, hey, come to this home buying seminar. We're going to teach you this and this and this. My strategy is to tell them attend this home buying seminar to learn the mistakes that home buyers make in buying a home. And it's part of it is you'll learn what's the right mortgage, why credit is so important, why PMI is not a big deal. And by the way, you're going to get your free copy of your credit report. I don't have a real estate agent there as such. It's usually just the lender there because people get intimidated with a real estate agent. So one of the things that you would do is have cards from real estate agents. Let's say 2 or 3 of them, and if it's a first-time home buyer or a second-time home buyer, they get a certain number of cards that they can call 3 real estate agents. So that's the way that
shuffle.
Yeah, pretty much. And real estate agents will tell you, I'm only a listing agent, or I only deal with first-time home buyers, or I only deal with high-end. Okay, I'll give you your card to the high-end buyer that I run into.
That's
So
fantastic. So,
let me go one step further,
yeah, go ahead.
Michael. Is that when you do provide them with a copy of their credit report, that you make sure that you follow up with them within a day or two to call them, say, I'm going to be calling you. We're going to go over your credit report, give me a date and time, that type of thing. And then that's where you go over the credit report with them. You determine whether they can make it or not. If they need help. But then the next step is let's go ahead and be pre-qualified for a loan. And if they say no, you say, why not? It's just as simple as that. You have to find out what their objection is. And what happens, what I see a lot of times in my coaching is they go, yeah, the client says, no, they're not ready yet. And what did you ask them? Why aren't they ready? So you have to find out their objections so a good salesperson can sell against the objection if they can.
I like how you're pushing them to get the credit pulled that day of the seminar, and then following up for the pre-qual right away. That's a lot different method than just waiting for the folks from the seminar to reach back up or handing the list over to a real estate agent to follow up and hoping that they come back to you.
Right. And I'll tell you, 80% of the people who attend seminars, that this is the feedback I'm getting, will fill out that. It's kind of like a mini form that says, here's my name, address, social security number, and date of birth. And then the regular authorization that you would see on a 1003. They would type that all in there, they sign it, and that's all you really need to pull that one in file.
So then, like, your loan officer perhaps has their licensed assistant sit in the back and pull the credits
Yep,
during the summer?
exactly. Put it in a sealed envelope with a cover letter that says, I'm going to be calling you tomorrow.
Love it. That's good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, that's class. And that, what I was going to mention when I started interrupting you earlier, sorry about that, was that concept of hitting the same exact farm, the same apartment complexes over and over. I've got a good loan officer friend that's right over here that's been doing the divorce seminars, and they bought some lists, and they're advertising, and it's the same. It's the same divorce attorneys over and over. They see your name, they see your newsletter month after month. When I used to do a lot of first-time home buyers myself, the same thing. I hit the exact same list that I bought. I think I bought them from a different source, but I like that source, and we would send them same method, a card every month. We had a seminar on the books every 2 months, and there was always something, a way for them to reach out to us, whether it was getting that credit report or getting a buyer's kit or coming to a seminar. Our cards actually had multiple calls to action. So, if we couldn't get them to come to a seminar, we could at least get them to maybe hit us up for a buyer's kit, or we could get them to hit us up for a free credit report or something like that. So,
and that's another thing that we talked about, the multiple ways to get the message out is setting up a group on Facebook and getting the divorce attorneys in there. LinkedIn, just inviting attorneys to your LinkedIn account and posting something regularly about some tips about how well, one of the tips might be how in a divorce situation how is the mortgage separated. They really don't realize, the attorneys really don't realize that both of them are on there even though they quit claim the deed. So you as a lender, how do you're relating to them on a LinkedIn article or whatever it is on how that works. So there's a lot of things that go into that, especially child support. They have to receive it for a certain period of time before they can count it. Write a short article about it, post it on Facebook, do a short video.
Well, sometimes I find that totally off topic, but the attorney that's representing the person that's retaining the house oftentimes forgets that if that person were to sell the house today, they would have to pay a real estate agent, 6% plus.
Oh yeah, you're right.
All that kind of stuff. So if you're splitting the equity down the middle, it's not really totally fair, because if that person was going to sell the house tomorrow, they'd be taking a big hit. So
yep, you're right.
Yep. So, because that's sometimes what they do. Oh, split the equity, then you got to sell the house within 6 months. Like, wait a second, you guys don't understand how this works. So, I got you.
Right.
I like the attention to detail and the way that the folks in your programs and the way you're coaching them to push the attendees forward to take action in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's the seller seminars or the buyer seminars. Actually, seller seminars. What do you do at the end of the seller seminars? To get them to perhaps take action. They're not perhaps as interested.
Well, you've still got the credit report.
Okay.
And then the next thing is that you can say, hey, do you mind if I contact a real estate agent, or maybe you might have one to do a CMA on your property to see what it's valued at. And some of them will say yes, some of them will say no, but a lot of them will say yes because they're curious about what the value of their home is. They may know that their neighbor's home sold for X amount of dollars. They don't actually know what their house is for. Then you get the CMA. They don't get the CMA. You get it from the real estate agent, so you know what kind of equity is in there because you've already run a credit report. You know what their mortgage balance is, right? Mm-hmm. And then you as a loan officer go back, hey, the real estate agent gave me the CMA. They feel that your house can sell for X amount of dollars. I just want you to know I'm not a real estate agent and I'm not guaranteeing anything, but here's how we could structure a deal if you sell your home. And then you do the ratios and all that kind of stuff.
I like it.
So it's all getting them engaged and asking them for permission. Do you mind if I do this? Do you mind if I do that? Most of the time they'll say yes.
Yeah, well, you're assuming if they're there for a home selling seminar, I mean, they've at least thought about
it. Right.
Yep. So
okay, so I'm going to give you another hint for the people who are listening. There are a couple social media posts that I post every now and then that for other loan officers to use. One of them has been really successful and has gotten a lot of traction. Now, if you have a pencil or a pen or whatever, or on your computer, write this down. If you were to sell your home today, if you had a buyer for your home today, would you sell it? So think about that post on Facebook. If you had a buyer for your home today, would you sell it? The average responses of the loan officers have used that maybe been 30 to 50 responses if they have a minimum of like 500 followers. One of the women got 3 listings for a real estate agent. One got 7 leads and 3 refinances. Because those people are saying, yeah, if I had a buyer, I'd probably sell it. And that's the only question that you're asking them. And the whole thing about social media anyway is getting engagement. So you're out there asking those questions on an ongoing basis. Another one that has been successful, especially if you're in an area where there are a lot of lakes or resort areas, if you were to buy a second home, where would it be located? And usually it's within a 50 or 100 mile radius of where where they're living now. So that's another opportunity to engage and say, hey, if you want to live on Diamond Lake, let's say Diamond Lake, I have a real estate agent who specializes in Diamond Lake. You want me to hook you up? Mm-hmm. So, getting those engagements on social media with potential buyers and sellers. And of course, if somebody's interested in buying a second home, they probably have the wherewithal to comment as well, and they have the wherewithal to buy that second home. So there's different opportunities out there.
Well, some of that too starts from folks actually, something I say all the time, being social on social media and actually having friends that they occasionally
Well, yeah, you have to have friends. I think concentrate on those friends first.
Exactly. Because I talk to some loan officers and then I look at their profile. They have 120 friends. And they're like, why does no one see my videos and read my posts?
Yeah,
I'm like, dude,
exactly. Oh, I have one more for you. If you could change something in your home today, what would it be? That's an opportunity for a 203Ks, mm-hmm. or possibly refinances, or if the home can't even be modified, selling your home and buying another one. Mm-hmm. So those are a couple of posts that I have that go ahead and use it, run away with it, and hope you get some leads.
Yep. Well, and sometimes we see folks asking those questions too often, like you said, every few weeks. Like if all you're doing is asking that kind of stuff again and again, people are like, oh, hey, it's Karen, she's trying to sell us a loan again.
I'd say about every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And also, Michael, this, do it different times of the day, because the people looking at it at 10 o'clock in the morning are not going to be the same people looking at it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you can just post it one day and do it a couple times, that's enough, and then do it every 2 weeks. Again, it's the consistency of it that they're expecting you to ask them a question.
Well, and I would add, I don't know if your folks are doing this, I'm not trying to steal your thunder, but sometimes you can have those questions asked in a local community group where there's a lot of people that aren't necessarily connected with you or aren't friends with you yet.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, a place
Yep.
where there's a handful of community groups in my area that have 10,000 people in them plus.
Hmm.
And it's not like all the people that don't know you are going to see the post right away. But if it's a good enough post and it has traction, people that don't know you may see you and may comment, and you may find that they are connected with friends that you're connected with. And
Yes, exactly.
that's how you make that introduction.
Yep.
Call it third
Hmm.
party introduction, right? You know,
Hmm.
meet somebody through somebody else. So
Hmm.
totally dig it. Cool. Well, I promised you we weren't going to go much more than 25 or 30 minutes. We're getting pretty
Okay.
close to 25 minutes. So,
All right.
so I did say that, you know, for me personally, I haven't spent enough time paying attention to all the cool things that Karen Deis does. And I've started paying attention in the last week, and it's quite a library. I really wanted you to at least talk about the things that you have out there for other loan officers and opportunities for them to, you know, jump in and get some additional tips, whether it's one of the books that you have or the, you know, some of the scripts that you have. I know a lot of the things that you have are perhaps not super expensive, but they're very, very helpful. You know, what kind of things do you have for the industry that folks in this group could potentially participate in?
I have Loan Officer Magazine, and that is
Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Well, we might need to get you to post, Karen. I think I lost you there.